Hey, this is Sky. Welcome to my YouTube channel. So it's bright and early, Saturday morning. Mind, body, and soul daily discipline. This is how we get through. Let's talk about overchoice. You know what that is? Overchoice is a symptom of PTSD. But anybody can really experience it. It's kind of a symptom nowadays of just an oversaturated marketplace. Overchoice is simply becoming overwhelmed, almost to a state of paralysis because of too many options. You ever had something like that where there's just too much of a choice, so it's hard to choose? You can get into this game of endlessly trying to compare. We didn't do this in the past. You went to go buy a pair of jeans, there were a couple brands. You can get some cheap-ass Lee jeans, you could get some more expensive Levi's, you could get some Wranglers, and maybe some Jordache if you thought you were hot. And that was kind of it, man. I mean, there wasn't like a lot to choose from, and none of them fit perfectly, and you just got which one you got. And you see these pictures of people from the 80s, and sure, they all looked funny walking around in jeans, and their bodies, they made their butts look flat, and now jeans make these women's bodies look different, and even men are wearing these skinny form-fitting jeans to try to show off their bodies. Nobody really cared about that before. These are new features and options that have been presented to you that now you care about and understand and look for. They're part of your value system now. And if you can't find those options, it can become stressful. We never really stressed out about that. Some jeans fit us well and some jeans didn't, and it was just, they were what they were. Maybe you don't stress out on jeans, but there's a lot of different options in the marketplace, in the world, in the decision making of our lives. Everything from what kind of job you're going to have, what kind of person you're going to shack up with, marry, and have kids and be stuck with for the rest of your life. Although of course you're not. Now you have options. I mean, divorce was always an option, and divorce has always been a thing. My parents got a divorce in, the early 70s, so it's not like that's a new thing, but one of the options nowadays is to not even get married. That wasn't really an option when I was a kid, at least in the culture that I grew up in. If you knocked a chick up, well, guess what, son? You're going to do the right thing. You're going to marry her. And you guys are going to have that kid, and that's what you're doing. I have friends now, they're young, they're 30. They just had a baby and they live together, but they have no intention of getting married. That's not something they're trying to do. And all I can think is that they're both just exploring their options, keeping their options open in a weird way when you just had a baby with someone. I don't know why you'd want to keep your options open. And that's just my judgment. But choice in general, the idea of having choices, we hold that as a value because we look at that as our freedom. The more choice I have, the more freedom I have. And it's funny that we have more freedom at Walmart than we do in the voting booth. We have two parties to choose from. That's your choice. When South Park did that episode of Giant Douche or Shit Sandwich. Make your choice, you have to choose one. And that's very often what it feels like when we're looking at the two parties and they present their candidate for president and you're just like, oh God. But you go to Walmart and go and pick out any product that you can think of. Tennis balls. Why are there so many different goddamn kinds and companies of tennis balls? I mean, you could just name anything. There's just a lot of everything. I lived in this Mexican barrio. I noticed right away everybody dressed the same. Now there's reasons why a lot of gang members choose to dress alike. But on the corner of the neighborhood, they had a tiny little flea market, like a micro flea market, real small. But there was vendors in there and they sold clothes, and a lot of the homies from the neighborhood bought their shit there. And I realized that one day as I strolled through, oh, what's this? And go kind of cruising through and see what they got. Everybody in the neighborhood was buying their clothes from these 2 different vendors in that little mini mall. Just because it's close, it's cheap, it's right there. So I noticed everybody's wearing the same jeans and the same t-shirts, and they're all getting them from here. It makes life pretty easy. I went and bought all my shit there too. Never really think about it. Just buy some clothes, and clothes don't even become a source of suffering, but they can be quite a source of suffering. And you can stand there in the department store staring at racks and racks and racks of different shit, just wondering, well, I don't know. How am I supposed to buy outfits for work? What the hell's wrong with what I already wear? Having choice makes us feel good about who we are. So we don't want our choices to be taken away. We don't want less choices, right? Because that feels like communism. That feels like oppression. That feels like a dictatorship. That feels like, well, I wouldn't want to live in a place or be in a relationship where somebody is not allowing me choice of my own. And I think we hold our freedom of choice, freedom to choose, as probably one of our most important values. And this is why it's capitalized upon and marketed to you. And this is why you go to the grocery store and there's 42 different types of ketchup. And you can express your freedom, how free you are. You're so free. You can express your freedom and proudly grab whichever one of those 42 different types of ketchups is the one that you like, put it in your cart, and America, goddamn, think about American flags and eagles, right? Because it's freedom. You can thank God, do a little cross, and be like, oh, I'm so free, right? Because I mean, that's all about. Creating options. Supposedly making your life easier. But this is where the term overchoice is such a play on words, because overchoice isn't making your life easier, it's too much choice. Somebody who suffers from this can stand there at the ketchup aisle and stare at that wall of tomato sauce, just thinking, well, fuck, which one am I supposed to buy? And that sense of freedom, where you walked away so proud that you have so many choices. What a great country. In America, we have all the ketchup we need. I can choose any ketchup I want. To somebody else, they're just standing there ready to cry. All I wanted was some fucking ketchup, dude. Fuck, and it gets to be this game because I don't want to pick the wrong one. I just want some ketchup, man. And this is where choice stops becoming a freedom and becomes torture. It becomes a source of less satisfaction as opposed to more. The idea of choice is supposed to give us more satisfaction. You have more options in buying a car now, not only just in types of cars, but in the features. So once you've chosen a model that you like, a year, make, and model. Say you want to buy a brand new SUV from Toyota. Well, they make 10 different types of SUVs, and then you say, I want to buy a RAV4. Well, they make 5 different types of RAV4s, and then, okay, I want to buy the base model RAV4. Well, then there's about 3 different packages for the base model that you can have options on, and you can go on their website, and it's all part of your freedom. It's so wonderful, and people promote this as it's such an incredible, wonderful thing, and then you can start picking options, and it gets to be a nightmare, and by the time you're done, hours and hours, weeks and weeks later, doing all this research, maybe you might find out that the Honda CR-V is slightly better than the RAV4, even though you spent a week looking at the RAV4 and you're like, well, fuck, I want to make sure I get the right car. I don't want to get the wrong one. This is $42,000. I got to fucking spend this money properly. And you get to be like going crazy over it. It becomes this huge source of suffering. It's less satisfaction. All you wanted was a car. And with all those choices, When you pick the car, or you pick the ketchup, you pick the job, you pick the woman you're going to settle down with, and all these choices, and you've studied and reviewed and think you picked the right one, you can really lead yourself down this road of second guessing. That's the whole idea of buyer's remorse. And that's just fed to you because there's this possibility that maybe you chose wrong. And God forbid if you choose wrong. And if you're not happy because there's a setup, there's a game that's being played with so many different options, and this game of trying to pick the right one and make the right choice, that once I finally get it, it's hard to be fully satisfied because you're always thinking about the options that you didn't choose. You've been robbed of full satisfaction with overchoice. And that kind of leads you down this road of second guessing, of insecurity. And that's how really options create suffering, and you further that train of thought, you start to blame yourself. Instead of where you might blame the world. Back in the old days, there was only so many types of jeans you could buy, so if I got a pair of jeans that weren't perfect, well, you just kind of blame the world. This is what it is. Whereas now, there's so many different types of choices to make with different products we buy. If I choose the wrong product, if I choose the wrong option, if I choose the wrong person, if I choose the wrong job, the wrong neighborhood, I blame myself for choosing wrong. I blame myself for being a failure, for being stupid. And all these choices have led me now to feeling like a stupid failure and a loser. I can't do anything right. I'll end the video here. The way, in my opinion, maybe you can give me options, give us all options, and we can talk this out together as warriors. I think the way to get around this dilemma of too many choices, of feeling bad about our choices, of suffering from this syndrome called overchoice, the way to get around it is two things. One is to have lower expectations. These various choices raise our expectations to unrealistic heights, and then everything has to live up to what we hoped and what we wanted. Back in the old days, we didn't really have such high expectations for jeans or for cars or for anything. So we weren't let down as much. So low expectations is one thing, and I think another way is to simplify. Just live a simple life. Wear the same shit every day. Keep your car until it dies. Keep it for 500,000 miles. Get it repainted, customize it if you get bored of it, but keep it. Stop moving around. Stop buying stuff when you're bored. Stop chasing pleasure. It's all just food for thought. Thanks for watching.